Report date Galactic Standard Cycle 7249.3. Security Chief Commander Blip'zorp. Station Celestial Education Hub Alpha 9. Subject Unprecedented Security Breach. Listen, I know what you're thinking. Oh, here goes Blip'zorp again with another one of his overly detailed security reports, but trust me, this time it's different. This time I've discovered something that defies every security protocol in our 900-page manual. And believe me, I've memorized every single page, much to the annoyance of my 3 spouses. It started during what should have been a perfectly normal third rotation. I was sitting in my office, enjoying my daily cup of fermented plasma. Doctor's orders. Apparently, my stress levels were causing my secondary heart to hiccup when every single alert on my console lit up like a Zygonian disco party. Now, I've seen my fair share of security breaches in my 47 cycles of service. Rogue maintenance bots? Please. Escaped laboratory specimens? Just another Tuesday. But what I witnessed on those security feeds underscore well. Let's just say I almost inhaled my fermented plasma through my tertiary breathing apparatus. The footage showed 3 small figures navigating through our most secure areas with the kind of casual confidence that made my antennae curl. At first, I assumed we had been infiltrated by the notorious miniature mercenaries of Maximus Prime. But no, what I saw was far more terrifying. They were human children. Yes, you read that correctly. Human children. For those unfamiliar with this relatively new species to join our Galactic Education Initiative, and honestly, where have you been? Humans are those bipedal creatures from that watery planet in Sector 7G. You know, the ones who somehow managed to achieve space travel while still arguing about whether their planet's shape was spherical. But these weren't just any human children. These were our exchange students, Maximum Max Blackwood age 12 Earth rotations, Kira Patel age 10 Earth rotations, and Lucas Torres age 8 Earth rotations. And somehow, these tiny Terrans had managed to bypass 17 layers of quantum encrypted security protocols. The security footage showed them casually strolling through the restricted archives as if they were walking through their dormitory hallways. Young Max was actually whistling, while Kira appeared to be taking notes on her datapad, and little Lucas __well, he was bouncing some sort of rubber sphere against the walls, each bounce making my security sensors have what I can only describe as an electronic nervous breakdown. But Blip'zorp, you might ask, how did these juvenile humans manage to breach our state-of-the-art security systems? That's the most humiliating part. They didn't hack anything. They didn't use any advanced technology. They simply _ask nicely. The footage shows them walking up to each security door, and with what humans call puppy eyes. Though I see no canines involved, they convinced various staff members to let them through. Even Senior Administrator Python, who once refused entry to his own genetic donor during an inspection, apparently melted at Lucas's gap-toothed smile. I've had to completely revise our security protocols to include a new section titled Defense Against Human Juvenile Persuasion Techniques, although, between you and me, I'm not sure any defense exists against what they call adorable pleading. But this unauthorized exploration was just the beginning. What these 3 tiny Terrans discovered during their little adventure would change everything we thought we knew about station security. And unfortunately for my stress levels and my hiccuping secondary heart, this was only the start of what would become the most bizarre week of my entire career. End of initial report. Note attached are 47 sub-reports detailing the various security protocols that need to be updated to account for, and I quote from Earth terminology, Cute Factor Exploitation. Supplementary report: the arrival incident. Security Chief Commander Blip'zorp. Subject: Human Integration Initial Assessment. To fully understand the magnitude of our current situation, we need to rewind to when this whole mess started. It was exactly 47 rotations ago when the Galactic Education Council made what many considered their most controversial decision since allowing quantum physics to be taught to gaseous species. They accepted Earth into the initiative. Now, I was present at the initial proposal meeting. The human ambassadors stood there, barely containing their excitement, as they presented their species' educational achievements. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their gravity chairs as they watched footage of something called Show and Tell, where tiny humans proudly displayed everything from crude artwork to various insects in transparent containers. But their energetic council member Zrax had whispered, their phosphorescent tentacles flickering with concern. The young ones apparently require something called recess, another added, looking horrified. Multiple times per day. Yet somehow, the proposal passed, which is how I found myself standing in the arrival bay 3 cycles later, watching our first human exchange students exit their transport vessel. Maximum Max Blackwood emerged first, his dark curly hair defying artificial gravity in ways that made our physics professors twitch. He carried something called a backpack, which, according to our scans, contained 14 different types of candy, all technically forbidden. But we learned quickly that confiscating human sweets led to something called sugar withdrawal tantrums. Kira Patel followed, her long braids decorated with what she called sparkly scrunchies that confused our optical sensors. She clutched a device she called Mr. Laptop, which she insisted was for educational purposes, though I'm still suspicious about the amount of time she spent playing something called Minecraft. Last came Lucas Torres, the youngest and, as we would soon learn, the most dangerous of the 3. Not because he was malicious, but because he possessed what humans call puppy dog eyes at a level that could probably be classified as a superpower. He dragged behind him a worn stuffed animal he called Professor Snuggles, which, despite its name, had no academic credentials we could verify. The station staff had prepared extensively for their arrival. We had modified our atmospheric controls to match Earth conditions, adjusted gravity levels, and even installed special sleeping pods that the humans insisted on calling bunk beds. We thought we were ready. We were not ready. Within their first rotation, we learned several crucial things about human children that no amount of xenobiological research had prepared us for. They ask why approximately 847 times per standard day. Our most advanced AI systems crashed trying to keep up with their questions. They require constant sustenance. Our nutrition dispensers weren't programmed for midnight snacks or something called pizza rolls. They have absolutely no respect for the laws of physics. Young Lucas, in particular, seemed to treat our artificial gravity controls as more of a suggestion than a rule. The educational staff was particularly baffled. Professor Wyzeek, our most renowned mathematician, had a minor meltdown when Max solved a complex equation by drawing stick figures instead of using the approved 47-step solution method. Kira rewrote our entire computational biology program because it wasn't colorful enough and somehow improved its efficiency by 300%. But perhaps most concerning was their effect on our adult staff members. Our once dignified educators began exhibiting strange behaviors. The head of xenolinguistics started ending her sentences with something called baby talk. Our chief engineer was caught teaching Lucas how to make paper aircraft in the zero-gravity chamber. Even the usually stoic maintenance bots developed what our technicians diagnosed as protective parent protocols. I submitted 17 different reports recommending their immediate removal from the station. Each one was denied with the same response, but they're just so entertaining to have around. The final straw came during the first parent-teacher conference call. As I watched our most distinguished faculty trying to explain to Earth parents why their children had too much creativity and excessive imagination, I realized we had passed the point of no return. The humans weren't adapting to our system was adapting to them. In retrospect, this should have been our first warning sign. Any species capable of turning the galaxy's most advanced education station into what effectively became an extremely expensive daycare center was clearly not to be underestimated. If only we had realized then what these 3 seemingly innocent children were capable of, perhaps we could have prevented __no, who am I kidding? Not even our most advanced predictive algorithms could have prepared us for what happened next. End of supplementary report. Note attached is a 200-page addendum listing all the station rules that needed to be modified after the humans' arrival, including the newly added no using maintenance bots as personal transportation devices regulation. Urgent report station-wide anomalies. Security Chief Commander Blip'zorp. Status extremely concerned. The problems began, as they often do, with something small. Specifically, with young Lucas Torres's breakfast. "My cereal is floating," he announced one morning in the dining hall, watching his nutrient spheres hover above his bowl of synthesized milk. Naturally, we dismissed it. Children often say things that don't align with reality, like Max's insistence that his homework was eaten by a quantum fluctuation, or Kira's claim that her room cleaned itself, though we never did figure out how she reprogrammed the maintenance bots to recognize Mega Messy as a legitimate cleaning protocol. But then the reports started coming in. The anti-gravity generators in Section 7 started operating in reverse, causing a rather unfortunate incident during the advanced quantum physics lecture where 30 students found themselves stuck on the ceiling. The hydroponics lab reported their plants were growing sideways, and the station's main computer began translating everything into something called Yu-Wu speak, which our linguistics department still refuses to acknowledge as a real language. "It's probably just routine maintenance issues," Administrator Python assured me, while floating upside down in his office. "Nothing to worry about." I might have believed him if I hadn't caught our 3 human students huddled in a corner, whispering conspiratorially. Now, any security chief worth their salt knows that whispering children mean trouble. But when I approached them, they scattered faster than quantum particles, leaving behind only a crude drawing that appeared to show __ well, I couldn't quite tell what it showed, but it involved a lot of red crayon and something labeled Big Scary Space Thing. Later that day, I found Max Blackwood trying to access the station's main database through a terminal in the library. "I'm just doing research for a school project," he said, quickly minimizing several screens showing the station's power grid schematics. "On restricted engineering systems?" I asked. "Well," he replied, "with that particular human expression they call a poker face MS. P-Waxis did say we should think outside the box for our science project." I was about to launch into my standard security protocol lecture when Kira Patel burst into the library, her braids defying artificial gravity even more than usual. "Max, the readings are getting worse." She stopped abruptly upon seeing me, adopting what humans call their innocent face. The readings for our __ weather project. "Weather project," I repeated slowly. "In space." "It's very complicated," Lucas added, somehow materializing beside them, despite my certainty that he had been in class on the other side of the station just moments ago. "You probably wouldn't understand. Adult stuff." "Adult stuff," I said, feeling my secondary heart begin to hiccup again. That's when they tried to explain. Something about energy fluctuations, anomalous readings, and a theory involving what they called a super weird space monster living in the station's power core. They had charts, graphs, and several crayon drawings that looked surprisingly scientific despite being decorated with stickers. Naturally, I did what any responsible security chief would do. I immediately reported their concerns to the station council. The council's response was __ predictable. "You expect us to take seriously the wild imaginings of juvenile humans," council members Zrak scoffed, their tentacles waving dismissively. "Next you'll be telling us we should consider their proposal to install a slip-end slide in the quantum physics lab." "But their evidence __ I began. "Evidence drawn in crayon," Administrator Python interrupted, still floating upside down, "with glitter." "The glitter helps highlight the important parts," Lucas protested from behind me, causing several council members to jump in surprise. How he had gotten into a sealed council chamber, I decided not to ask. "This is precisely why we cannot take this seriously," Council Member V. Rock declared. "They're clearly just seeking attention. Remember last week when they insisted the cafeteria food was alive?" "It was alive," Max muttered. "We saw it wave back at us." The council dismissed us, but not before issuing a new station-wide directive prohibiting the use of crayons for official documentation. As we left the chamber, I noticed something odd about the children's expressions. They didn't look disappointed or upset. They looked __ determined. "Plan B," Kira whispered to her companions. "Plan B," Max confirmed, with a grin that made my antennae curl. "What's Plan B?" I asked, immediately regretting the question. "Don't worry, Commander Blip'zorp, Lucas said, patting my hand sympathetically. We'll try not to break too many rules, just the ones that need breaking. As I watched them hurry away, presumably to cause more chaos, my communication device buzzed with a new alert warning station: power core fluctuations exceeding normal parameters. Above the warning, a message from Max blinked: told you so. I needed more fermented plasma. End of incident report. Note: request to increase security budget for crayon detection equipment denied by Council. Emergency log: critical station status. Security Chief Commander Blip'zorp. Priority level extremely urgent. Remember how I said the strange malfunctions were just the beginning? Well, I hate being right sometimes. It started during what the humans call lunchtime, their fourth meal of the day, not counting what they call snacks. The station's lights began pulsing with a purple glow that our sensors couldn't even detect. The artificial gravity started cycling through random planetary settings, causing everyone to experience the gravitational forces of 17 different worlds within the span of minutes. The space monster is hungry, Lucas announced calmly, continuing to eat his sandwich while floating near the ceiling. Before I could remind him that space monsters weren't in any official xenobiology database, every screen on the station lit up with the same message: power core critical. Containment failure imminent. The council chamber erupted into chaos. Well, organized chaos. We do have protocols for panicking properly. Deploy the emergency containment fields, Administrator Python ordered, now stuck to the left wall due to the shifting gravity. The containment fields are offline, reported our chief engineer, who was currently experiencing the gravity of a gas giant and could barely lift her tentacles. Then initiate the emergency shutdown sequence. The shutdown sequence has been locked out. Something is overriding our commands with __, are those emoji. That's when our three human troublemakers burst into the chamber. Max was carrying his backpack, now stuffed with what appeared to be snack wrappers and spare parts from the engineering lab. Kira clutched her laptop, which was displaying calculations so complex they made our quantum computers look like primitive counting devices. Lucas had Professor Snuggles tucked under one arm and a juice box in his free hand. We know what's wrong, Max announced, somehow maintaining perfect balance despite the gravity shifts. And we know how to fix it. Absolutely not, Council member Zrax began, before being interrupted by another station-wide alert. Power core containment breach in 10 minutes. The space monster isn't really a monster, Kira explained quickly, pulling up a series of diagrams on her laptop. It's a quantum dimensional energy being that got trapped in our power core when the station was built, and now it's growing. That's impossible, our chief scientist protested. We would have detected any anomalous life forms during construction. Not if it was sleeping, Lucas said, taking a noisy sip from his juice box. But then Max's candy stash in his secret hideout near the power core woke it up. What near the where? I asked Max. Not important right now, he replied quickly. What's important is that we know how to help it get home. Their plan was, to put it mildly, insane. It involved redirecting power through non-standard pathways, using maintenance bots in ways that violated at least 47 safety protocols, and somehow incorporating Lucas's collection of rubber bouncy balls. This is preposterous, Administrator Python declared. We cannot entrust the station's survival to __. Our core containment breach in 5 minutes. To 3 human children, using toys and snack foods Kira finished for him. Got any better ideas? The council chamber fell silent, except for the sound of Lucas's juice box straw scraping the bottom. What do you need? I asked, ignoring the gasps from the council members. What followed was the most chaotic rescue operation in the history of the Galactic Education Initiative. Max's candy wrappers, it turned out, had unique reflective properties that could help channel quantum energy. Kira's laptop, modified with parts from 17 different alien devices, could communicate with the energy being. And Lucas's bouncy balls, when thrown in specific patterns, could create temporary quantum tunnels. It's simple physics, Kira explained as she typed furiously on her laptop. Just like making a cat's cradle, but with space-time instead of string. Simple. Right. The next few minutes were a blur of activity. Max coordinated a team of reprogrammed maintenance bots, now decorated with stickers and trailing candy wrappers. Kira's fingers flew across her keyboard, lines of code mixing with quantum equations and what looked suspiciously like game cheat codes. Lucas bounced around the station, literally setting up his ball-based quantum tunnel network. Power core containment breach in 60 seconds. Ready, Max asked his friends. Ready, Kira confirmed. Professor Snuggles is ready too, Lucas added, holding up his stuffed animal, which was now wearing a tiny makeshift spacesuit crafted from snack bags. What happened next defied every law of physics we thought we knew. The power core erupted in a dazzling display of energy, but instead of destroying the station, it was caught in a network of quantum tunnels created by bouncing rubber balls. The energy being, drawn by the reflective patterns of carefully arranged candy wrappers, followed a path through the station that looked remarkably like a game of hopscotch. "It's working," Kira shouted, her laptop screen displaying what appeared to be a combination of advanced quantum mechanics and a Dance Revolution game. Just a little more __. The energy being, now visible as a swirling mass of purple light, paused near Lucas, who offered it his last juice box. To our astonishment, the entity seemed to accept the offering, absorbing the juice box into its form before diving into the final quantum tunnel. In a flash of light that temporarily blinded our sensors, the energy being vanished. The station's systems returned to normal, gravity stabilized, and the emergency alerts ceased. For a moment, complete silence filled the station. Then Lucas spoke up. "Can we keep one of the maintenance bots? I taught it to play fetch. End of emergency log. Note requesting immediate review of all station construction sites for sleeping quantum dimensional energy beings. Also requesting budget approval for a station-wide supply of juice boxes, just in case. Final report incident analysis aftermath. Security Chief Commander Blip'zorp. Status contemplating early retirement. News travels fast in space. But news about 3 human children saving a prestigious education station using candy wrappers, rubber balls, and a stuffed animal. That travels faster than a quantum slipstream. The official council meeting following the incident was, to say the least, interesting. Administrator Python spent 20 minutes trying to explain how children who barely understood advanced quantum mechanics had succeeded where our best scientists had failed. Perhaps council member Zrax suggested, their tentacles twitching nervously, we should reconsider our definition of advanced problem solving. The children sat through the meeting eating something called victory snacks. Apparently, saving a space station makes humans hungry. Max was already sketching plans for what he called quantum monster detection gear, using his remaining candy wrappers. Kira had somehow turned the entire incident into a video game on her laptop, complete with high scores and achievement badges. Lucas was teaching his newly adopted maintenance bot, which he named Bouncer, to do tricks using spare rubber balls. Within days, the story spread across the Galactic education network. Our communication systems crashed 3 times from the incoming messages. Everyone wanted to know more about the tiny Terran troublemakers, who had not only discovered a quantum dimensional being, but had also befriended it with snacks. The scientific community was particularly thrown into chaos. Several prominent researchers demanded to know how bouncy balls could possibly create quantum tunnels. Kira's response, because they're bouncy, has since been quoted in 17 different scientific papers. The Galactic Education Council held an emergency session to discuss the implications of what they called the human factor. The meeting lasted 6 days, primarily because they kept getting distracted by Lucas's presentation on why every space station should have a designated fun zone. Here are some of the changes implemented following the incident. All station security protocols now include a section on creative problem solving, though I'm still not sure how what would a human child do counts as a security measure. The cafeteria has been required to stock juice boxes of all flavors. The energy being apparently sent a thank you note specifically requesting grape flavor. Maintenance bots across the galaxy have been upgraded with what engineers are calling play protocols. I caught 2 of them playing hopscotch yesterday. Professor Snuggles has been officially recognized as a consulting expert in quantum dimensional communications. The stuffed animal now has its own office. But perhaps the most significant change has been in how we view our youngest species. The human children didn't just save our station, they showed us that sometimes the most powerful solution isn't the most advanced one. Sometimes it's the simple things: curiosity, creativity, and the willingness to offer a juice box to a quantum entity. The story has taken on a life of its own. In the Andromeda sector, they tell of 3 magical beings who speak to space monsters. The Proxima systems have a new holiday called Bouncy Ball Day. And I've heard rumors that the prestigious Galactic Science Academy is conducting serious research into the quantum properties of candy wrappers. As for our 3 heroes, they've become something of a legend. Max's secret candy stash is now an officially sanctioned emergency quantum supply storage. Kira's laptop has been declared a cultural treasure, though she refuses to explain how she got her game characters to dance in 5 dimensions. Lucas and Bouncer have started a station-wide ball games tournament that somehow involves 0 gravity, 3 different dimensions, and rules that change based on the player's shoe size. The council even commissioned a commemorative plaque. It reads on this spot, "3 human children proved that the most powerful force in the universe might just be imagination." That, and a well-timed juice box. Just yesterday, I overheard a group of new students whispering about the great space monster adventure. The story had grown to include laser battles, time travel, and something called a dance-off, none of which actually happened. When I tried to correct them, Lucas just winked at me. Sometimes, he said, sipping from yet another juice box, the story is better than the truth. I've learned to stop trying to make sense of humans. Just this morning, I found Max testing a new quantum detection device made from paper clips and bubble gum. When I asked him how it worked, he replied, "With style, Commander. With style." The energy being occasionally sends postcards from whatever dimension it now calls home. They're written in emoji, which our linguistics department has finally, grudgingly, recognized as a valid form of communication. As for me, I've started keeping a secret stash of candy in my office, just in case. You never know when you might need to save the universe with a chocolate bar. End of final report. Note this will be my last report regarding the incident, as I've been recruited to teach a new course, Emergency Response the Human Way. First lesson, always carry snacks. Addendum: Lucas would like everyone to know that Professor Snuggles has just been nominated for a Galactic Science Award. The category? Most Innovative Use of a Stuffed Animal in Quantum Physics. The award ceremony will feature a 0-gravity bounce house, at his insistence.